You can all rise for the pledge, please.
Okay.
Zach, can you lead us in the pledge, sir? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A moment of silence for the men and women in the armed forces, our first responders, our veterans, those fighting a good fight in Ukraine, and those suffering from military conflict in the Middle East. Thank you. Katie, can you lead us in the America's Creed?
Certainly. This is the America's Creed by William Tyler Page. I believe in the United States of America as a government by the people, for the people, whose just powers are derived from the consent of the governed, a democracy and a republic, a sovereign nation of many sovereign states, a perfect union, one and inseparable, established upon those principles of freedom, equality, justice, and humanity, for which American patriots sacrificed their lives and fortunes. I therefore believe it is my duty to my country to love it, to support its Constitution, to obey its laws, to respect its flag, and to defend it against all enemies. Thank you.
Thank you. Diane?
Yes, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 people. We'll start with Adrian Bigelow Kern. Adrian, you please state your name, your address, and you'll have 5 minutes.
All right. Hi there. Good evening. Adrian Bigelow Kern, 76 Second Hill Road, New Milford. As my shirt.
I like your shirt.
Well, I just came from the high school because tennis is in full swing. This is the last week of it, so wanted to talk about that a little bit as well, because I know pickleball has been the topic lately, and well, but I think we should also remember that tennis is important as well. And as I could hear one of the girls from another team saying, boy, it's kind of difficult to see the lines when the pickleball lines are on the tennis courts. So, but just for us to think about as we're talking about the parks and everything, the tennis is important as well. We went down to the park, both courts were taken, had to go to the high school. All of 8 of them, we got the one court, but all of them were taken. So obviously tennis is important as well. So just thought I'd share that. And then I think last time you mentioned how there was Independent Bookstore Day, and we have the Honeybee, and that's an amazing place. Also, last month was National Librarian Week. That was April 19th to the 25th. And then so May is Asian Pacific Island Heritage Month. And so just thought I'd pick this up at the library. And this is from George Takei, the one from Star Trek. And the name of the book is My Lost Freedom, a Japanese-American World War II story. So just wanted to read a little bit of it because I think one of the things that we know as Americans, that there's been many things that have happened and we need to learn from our history. So, Japanese Americans during World War II. After President Franklin Delano Roosevelt declared war on Japan, people began spitting and yelling at us on the street. We were called spies, saboteurs, and that painful word of hate, Jap. But we were Americans who had done nothing wrong. We only looked like the people who bombed Pearl Harbor. Our homes, our cars, our businesses were graffitied with venom-filled words. Weeks later, the president signed a decree classifying all Japanese Americans as enemy aliens. It made no sense. So this book, and also if you guys use Hoopla, he has another book as well that talks about his experiences. But yeah, just wanted to bring about awareness of that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have McAdory Lipscomb. If you would please say your name and your address and your 5 minutes.
Should I start my timer? Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the Town Council. My name is Mac Lipscomb, 37 Mary Acres Lane in New Milford. I am a volunteer on a member of the Arts Commission and a Riverfront Commission, and tonight I'm here in another capacity. I'm the Vice President of the Theater Works Board, which is a nonprofit 501c3 live performance theater here in New Milford, and I was invited a few months ago by Councilman Paul Murphy to give you an update on a couple of shows, a creative announcement, and an innovative program with Yale Ventures and the state of Connecticut. Recently, we had a research study called the 2024 AE number 6, which is a National Arts and Council cultural research study, and we had actually a breakout capability for Northwestern Connecticut. I want to just give you a couple of facts. First of all, nonprofit arts and cultural organizations are businesses. We generate $30.2 million in arts and cultural sales in Northwest Connecticut, which actually spans from Ridgefield all the way to the state line. We have $9.2 million in our particular region of tax revenue for local, state, and federal. We support 596 plus jobs, depending on who's having shows and who's not. We also have $32.23 spent above and beyond the cost of a ticket by every individual that happens to be in town to either go to an event or go to a show. We also have 23.2%, or almost a quarter of our audience, travel to Fairfield and Litchfield County for events. And 92% of non-local attendees survey reported a primary purpose specifically to attend the performance, the event, the exhibit, the venue, or the facility. Think Gilmore Girls, New Milford in Australia. 85% when asked agree, I would feel a great sense of loss if this activity or venue were no longer available. That brings me to TheaterWorks. We're doing well, and thanks to our ticket buyers, gift givers, and donators, they keep us alive, well, and performing. Currently live on stage is King Lear, and it is a likely hit with more than 800 people actually driving to New Milford to see that show. We have 2 more weekends that we're performing, this Friday and Saturday night at 8 o'clock, and a second matinee, which is a new addition for us, at 2 o'clock. Yesterday's matinee had 80 people attending. Tonight, I'm announcing also something brand new. We have appointed Dorothy Lyman, our 2-time Emmy Award-winning actress, and as our artistic director for the 2027 season. After her 2 Emmy Award-winning performances, Opal Gardner, on All My Children. I know most of us watched a little of that. She is widely known for her co-starring role in Mama's Family alongside Mickey Lawrence, Carol Burnett, and Betty White. Her original play, Upstate, premiered on our stage in 2025. Ms. Lyman has also directed 75 episodes of Fran Dresler's sitcom, The Nanny. A one-time resident of New Milford, she now lives in neighboring Washington, Connecticut. She is currently a co-producer along with fellow TheaterWorks board member Kelly Solomon of this summer's 10-minute play festival, Summer Shorts, August 13th through August the 16th. Our current board has welcomed new members with significant skills, such as an investment banker with a master's in fine arts and theater management as our treasurer, the former executive director of the Aspen Film Festival, and 2 theater-oriented individuals from the Canterbury School and a recently retired New Milford public school teacher. We're also adding acting TheaterWorks director Marina Kalitas, the daughter of the man that owns Greca. She is going to be and is a music teacher as well as a music theater graduate, and is stepping in to run our Rising Stars Introduction to Musical Theater program for 5- and 8-year-olds, which is a Tuesday afternoon, Thursday afternoon after school, and Saturday mornings from May 16th through June the 6th. Folks need to go online. There is a place to both find out more and sign up.
Jack, I hate to interrupt, but you have 30 seconds left.
30?
Yep.
Okay, that's what it says. Well, I'm very close to that. We're most excited about our new association with Yale Ventures, our collective Connecticut and the state of Connecticut. 5 individuals are mentored by TheaterWorks in a pilot year of a state-sponsored program. The creative founders learn start business skills with an incubator model like Techstars, Y Combinator, and Shark Tank. New Milford's Kay Mickelson, a teacher at Pratt, George Bennett, Patricia White, and 2 other creative individuals are presenting their businesses based on plays, podcasts, community arts, and television shows at the Yale Venture Capital Conference, May 27th and 28th in New Haven. More than 3,000 tech, biotech, and now arts and culture investors are expected to attend there. Theater Works is looking forward to giving you updates on an occasion, and we'd love to see you at the theater. Thank you.
Mac, thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. I printed copies just for you.
Okay, next we have Ron Sharesha. Ron, if you could please step to the podium and say your name, address, and you have 5 minutes.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor and Council. My name is Ron Saresha. I live at 25 Summit Street in Milford. And I have a two-part question. First of all is regarding the Historical Properties Commission, of which I am formally a chair, and which seems to have no purpose at this point. And I would like some to hear some discourse on what exactly is the point of continuing to have it when there apparently are no members and no chairperson. The second question, it regards the Old Boardman Bridge Commission, which, as I understand, was recently reconstituted and only included one council member, Katie, except under duress was added another former member of that commission. I was just an alternate member of that commission, but it is something that I think that we all hold very dear to ourselves. And I'd like to know what was the point of reconstituting this when there were no meetings called. Bill Devlin actually told me that he had never heard, a word about what the reconstituted commission was supposed to accomplish or do. So I would be very interested in hearing about that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Ron.
Lastly, Tom Kapsiak. Tom, you know the drill. 5 minutes.
Good evening, I'm Tom Kapsiak, 94 Long Mountain Road. Later this evening, the council will be asked to consider the engagement of a consultant to provide the options for a site for an enhanced DPW facility. I am hopeful that the town council will authorize the engagement of such a consultant to review the options available to address the current and likely future needs of the DPW for an enhanced facility. Ideally, such a review will also include the needs of any other group that might be located at the same site, such as the town's emergency response organization. The town's POCD in 2020 recommended that such an analysis take place. The town has also received 2 hazard mitigation plans from WestCog that recommend that the Scoville Street site not be used for critical facilities since the area is prone to flooding that would render the site inaccessible. The effort for the DPW should result in a facility that is storm resistant, capable of being fully functional in an emergency that might include loss of normal power and communications capability, and which can be renovated as the department's needs evolve. During the projects in which I have been involved, a corporation would have engaged an outside program management firm or an in-house department to coordinate the development of a document describing the issues to be addressed by any new construction or renovation of a facility for a user group, to investigate the options available to address the group's needs and their respective costs, benefits, and timelines, to oversee the development of the construction documents, their bidding, and the engagement of the needed contractors, to oversee the construction renovation itself, to coordinate the occupancy of the new facility, and lastly, to oversee the disposition of the vacated site and any related remediation that would be required to allow the vacated site to be repurposed. The assumption is always that the affected user group has the skills and resources to address their normal responsibilities, but not those needed to provide an alternative site for their operations. A consultant retained to coordinate the needed set of activities would report to the town council, proceed only with its authorization, follow normal town processes, and provide regular and frequent updates to the council and the community as a whole. I recommend that the town not assign the responsibility for the needed planning and oversight of such a program on behalf of the DPW to the town's municipal building committee. The activities will occur during the activities that will occur during the development of an alternative facility for the DPW are well outside the MBC's capability, especially now that their responsibilities have been reduced as a result of the changes to the MBC ordinance, which makes them only an advisory body to the mayor and to the town council. A committee that meets only occasionally and which is composed of volunteers cannot do what will be needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Diane?
That's it.
Thank you. Katie?
All right, moving on. I'd like to move item 4A and B, prior minutes and tax collector. Do you have a second?
Any discussion? Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Thank you.
Item 5, mayor's comments, proclamation.
Yep, so I'd like to do a couple of proclamations if I could. First one is going to be for foster care, as this is National Foster Care Month. Whereas the family, serving as the primary source of love, identity, self-esteem, and support, creates the foundation of our communities and our state. And whereas foster families help every child realize their worth and inherent value, instilling them with courage, character, and confidence to achieve their dreams and goals. Whereas nationally there are more than 350,000 children and youth in foster care, and approximately 3,400 in Connecticut. And whereas for reasons beyond their control, children and youth find themselves in situations without an avenue for safe and loving care. And whereas foster parents across the United States who rise to the occasion with selfless compassion and acceptance to ensure these children receive love, support, and a sense of belonging. And whereas dedicated foster families frequently adopt foster children, which results in the greater need for more foster families. And now, therefore, I, on behalf of the town of New Milford, Pete Bass, do hereby proclaim May as National Foster Care Month and encourage citizens to come forward and offer something positive that will change a lifetime for a young child or a young person in foster care.
Thanks.
Next one is, this week is National Police Week. Whereas the Congress and the President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which it falls is National Police Week. And whereas the members of the New Milford Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of the town of New Milford. And whereas the New Milford Police Department is a skilled and professional law enforcement agency which unceasingly provides a vital public service. Now, therefore, I, Pete Bass, Mayor of the town of New Milford, call upon all citizens of the town of New Milford and upon all patriotic, civil, and educational organizations to observe the week of May 10th through the 16th, 2026 as National Police Week, with appropriate ceremonies in which all of our people may join in commemorating police officers past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in doing so, have established for themselves an inevitable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens. I further call upon all citizens of the town of New Milford to observe Friday, May 15th, as Peace Officers Memorial Day, in honor of those peace officers who, through their courageous deeds, have lost their lives or have become disabled in the performance of their duty. Thank you. A brief reminder that this Saturday is our budget vote. All districts will be open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. This is a Saturday budget, as the registrars had asked the town council to kind of look at different day to try to see if we can get some additional people to come out and vote. So we're asking all, if you can't make it that Saturday, you can get an absentee ballot. You can either go to the state website, or you can go to our town website, or you can go in person to the town clerk's office to pick one up. Big congratulations to the Milford High School wrestler Emmy Lim, who competed in the New York State Freestyle Wrestling Championship. She placed third. She's now qualified for the Fargo Freestyle Nationals in North Dakota in July. So we wish her much success in going to the Nationals. Also, big congratulations to our New Milford cadets for their performance in the NERLEEA Stations Day competition. They competed against agencies from across the region. Our cadets took first place male tactical obstacle course, first place female tactical obstacle course, second place robbery response. So absolutely great job by our cadets. Also, big congratulations to our 2026 Da Vinci Award winners that we had the award ceremonies for Miss Julie Bailey and Lou Mandler. And a big thank you, Katie, to you and to Mr. Coppola for really spearheading this, as you do each and every year. And it's great to see our award winnees and family and community members that were at the awards. Big congratulations to the Milford varsity softball team, who are now 16-0. And Coach Rolando, what was the score against Immaculate today?
19-3.
So they are well on their way.
My girls are rolling.
Outstanding. So
Come
go
on.
Greenway.
Come on
Great
for the
job.
support. Go Green Wave.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Congratulations to our New Milford Youth Baseball Softball 9E boys, as they won over the weekend 12-0. And then a big opening day for our New Milford's Farmers Market. Even if it was a little wet, we still had a lot of people come out and support our vendors and farmers. And that's every Saturday, 9 a.m. to noon. Northern Green, every once in a while we'll move to the Middle Green, but most of the time it's at the Northern Green. So big, huge thank you. Also, a huge thank you to the Roger Sherman chapter, the Daughters of the American Revolution, and their regent, Heidi Norcross, who is also our chairwoman of the Celebrate America 250 Committee, as they put on the airing of the quilts this past weekend at St. John's Church and the First Congregational Churches. There were quilts from the Civil War all the way to today. I believe there's over 142 quilts, and it was a wonderful sight. And again, this is part of our really events that was driving us to America's 250. So big, huge thank you, as well as to our Historical Society, is they featured over 100 antique sewing machines over the weekend as well. So that was really cool to see. And I know my grandmother, that's how she actually had made a living, was as a seamstress. So getting to see the old sewing machines. Lanesville Fire Department renovation project. The painting contractor continued with the prep of the eastern garage bay and existing building. The electrical contractor continued with wiring and installing the floor boxes in the training room. The contractor planted trees along the new drive access, and they continued with the hardware on the doors and then the interior building. The mason stripped the forms for the concrete that was placed. The tile contractor began prep to level the floor to grade in the bathrooms. And speaking with Sean, who is the fire chief of Waterwitch, once they get close to completion, they're going to do an open house so that you, the public, can see how wonderful this fire station is, and much needed, especially across the river. Speaking of the fire department, they did training this past Saturday at Century Brass, and a big thank you to Chief Delaney and the Water Witch Fire. They hosted 30 area firefighters for technical training on lifting and stabilization. They call it the Day of Destruction, where you would go, and if we have a calamity, they're there, and how they take care of that. And this was the conclusion of 2 nights of classroom instruction on techniques and hazard of technical rescues. Also, a big thank you to the Milford FSM Services, Modulesky's Towing, and Goat Boy Soaps for all of their support for the training exercise that happened over the weekend. Speaking with Chief Cerruto today, going over our traffic statistics. So far, motor vehicle stops this year has been 1,381. Motor vehicle accidents so far this year have been 308. There was 291 same time last year. We talked about this a couple weeks prior. There was a little bit of an uptick due to all the winter weather that we did have. We did have an uptick in parking lot accidents again. Last year was 57 this time, and so far this year is at 62. DUIs have gone down. There was 31 at this time in 2025. There's 25 so far this year. One is too many, we all know. Speaking of events that are going to be going on in town, a big, huge thank you. I was able to stop in today for the Litchfield County Irish American Club. They did their golf tournament today. The proceeds to that go to help our youth sports organizations. Last year they helped the Bulls, they helped the baseball team, and some individual athletes. They had over 100, and how many did you say, Murph? Over 125 golfers that were there. So again, big thank you to the club as they help this year our young athletes. We've got on May 13th, 9 a.m. to noon at Pettibone, senior preseason park pass sales, where you can pick up your Len Deming Park Pass for $20. Also, tomorrow and the 14th at Pettibone, you can pick up a preseason park pass for everyone else. Cruise night at Kimberly Farm is going to be on May 14th, 5 p.m. to dark at Kimberly Farm. We also have May 15th, 16th, and 17th is the 6th annual Goat Days. That kicks off our big event series. That's going to be at Youngsfield, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Also on May 16th, Village Center of the Arts is going to be doing their art fair and tag sale, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. right here on Church Street. So that'll be a great thing in the downtown. You can do all sorts of wonderful things, and they're going to be celebrating their 26th year in operation. So big, huge congratulations to Sharon and Jason. May 16th, also 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Senior Center is a Senior Center open house. For those, seniors, the seniors think 60 and above qualifies for the Senior Center. I got my membership there. And if you haven't seen it already, please come and check out all the wonderful opportunities that are there for our seniors, programs, events, all sorts of great stuff. Jasmine and her team will be there to answer any questions that you have. Also on May 16th, 6:30 p.m., I believe there's a few tickets still available at Canawood Valley Country Club. The comedy show featuring John Romanoff and WRKI personality Lou Milano will also be headlining as well. May 21st, 5 p.m. to dark at Kimberly Farm is another cruise night. Music, food, great ice cream as well. May 23rd, Len Deming Park officially opens. So there'll be lifeguards. Obviously, you have the wonderful, we'll have some, what's it called? Food trucks that'll be there. We've got the grills, 2 new grills that are there. We also have, for those that need it, we're also going to have some floating devices for those that don't need to be safe.
Guarantee a nice sunny day?
I wish I could, but I don't think I can.
Well, you could try.
Well, I can try. May 23rd, 10 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. is the Great Nutmegger Scavenger event that was postponed. That's for Harrybrook Park. Farmers Market is again at 9 a.m. to noon on the green. Music by Swing Set. That's from 10 to noon on the bandstand. And then May 25th, starting at 8 a.m. is the Memorial Day Parade. That's at Gaylordsville. And then at 10 a.m., the downtown Memorial Day Parade kicks off here in town. And it's great that we have 2 Memorial Days to honor our fallen servicemen and women who paid the ultimate sacrifice. Also on the 25th, right, Katie? Right after the Memorial Day Parade is the annual Rotary Duck Race.
31st
Can
annual.
people still buy ducks?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you know who's going to be in the parade? It's going to be a secret, but it's hard to keep a secret.
Okay.
Mr. Duck. He's going
Okay.
to ride in.
Duck will be
he's
riding
got-
around.
Yes, Mr. Kick is going to drive him.
Okay.
So I say keep your eyes open
All
down
right.
there.
May 26th, the Village Center of the Arts is a studio affair. Great chance to come down and see what Village Center has to offer. Then the Milford Library, 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. on the 28th, is doing lawyers in the libraries. Big thank you to the lawyers. These are scheduled 20-minute sessions. Pro bono. So if you do have a legal question you'd like to get answered, doesn't cost anything. Big thank you to the lawyers that are doing this. Again, you need to contact the library to schedule your appointment for that night. May 28th, Kimberly Farm again is doing their cruise night. Then, Paul, May 28th, First Rock the Block. 6:30 p.m. on Bank Street, 100 proof. The rain date will be on the 29th. Farmers Market again is on the 30th, 9 a.m. to noon. And Don Lowe, great musician, he's also selectman in Sherman. He's going to be performing on the bandstand from 10 to noon. And then May 30th, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Ambulance Barn is the Wellness Fair fundraiser. May 31st, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pettibone is the Cruisin' New Milford Car Show. Don Clay's car show, going to be a lot of cars, bikes, great event. May 30th and 31st, the Boy Scouts Troop 158 are doing their Camping for Cans right on the middle green. If you can bring your non-perishable goods, they will go to our New Milford Food Bank. That we're going to need much needed non-perishables. So a big, huge thank you to the Scouts. They do that each and every year.
You going to camp? You going to stay
Oh, yeah,
overnight?
they stay overnight.
Okay.
Yep, 10 a.m. till
Show there really
10
was
a.m.
nice.
on Saturday till 10 a.m. on Sunday. And that's what we have going on for the month of May. A lot's going to be going on in June as well.
Steve, could I ask you to mention the garden club?
Absolutely.
Plant sale on the 30th.
30th plant sale.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make sure that's in there. On the green.
On the green?
It's gonna be a big one.
Okay.
Love it.
Everybody hear
Thank
it?
you.
Thank you.
We'll be busy.
And then, yes.
Ron Suresha had mentioned the Historical Properties Commission and the Old Boardman Bridge Commission. Is that something you could address, if not today, at the next
Absolutely.
meeting?
So we can quickly address it. The Old Boardman Bridge, the really has not been constituted as yet. We were looking to reform it as we put in for a LOTSIP grant. If we were to have awarded that grant, then we would have reconstituted it because we'd had the funds to do the project. We're putting back in for that again. Hopefully this time around we get the grant and then we'll reconstitute it.
You just,
As-
Ron, you weren't excluded. It was just needed a few people when we put the grant in, that's all. You're still on the list, don't worry. You'll be part of it.
Well, it just
I-
seems,
Never heard from you. So
sorry?
I didn't hear from you. If you had worried about it, I would have been happy to talk to you about why. It was just a few people.
I was out of the country for the last 6 months.
Ooh, good for you.
But that's beside the point. My question is, why wasn't there an organization structured to support this on,
There's nothing to
ongoing
support.
topics?
There's nothing to support unless, as our people over here, Jack and Chuck, until we know that we'll get the grant and can do it. Without the grant, there'll just be a few of us weeping in a committee. There's nothing to do.
So Ron, hopefully we'll have good news with LOTSIP, and then we can reconstitute the actual committee and get going on it, which would be a wonderful asset, as we all know over there, that would really solidify
That's right.
not only Sega Meadows, but the Riverwalk going north would be a true destination point there. So that's what we're waiting for. Hopefully, the state will give us some money.
Certainly. I mean, also there's the remediation factor. If the concrete from the bridge starts falling into the river, we're looking at
Paint flecks are
something
probably
much
the first issue.
Ron,
much more serious.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Ron, one of the things that we did talk about, Jack and Chuck presented to the town council, because we used American relief funds to get a engineering study done. Right. And the good news, Jack, right, is right now that's very stable. Though we need to get this thing taken care of, it's something that's not imminent, like right this second.
Right.
As far as historic properties, there really hasn't been anything that's property specific, but as I was going to be talking at our next town council meeting, because now the budget is over and we're going to get a chance to kind of get all the narratives, especially when it comes to the new housing bills that have been approved by the state, that historic properties, especially in the village center, we will need to reconstitute that, just because of the new guidelines that the state is allowing, especially for residential development.
Very good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, road closures, Katie?
Okay, item number 6. I'd like to move the following for our approval, and that would be Parks and Recreation is requesting the following roads to be closed for the 8-mile 5K races on July 25th. And that would be Bennett Street, 8:30 a.m. to 8:45, Church Street crossover, 5:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., the intersection of Church Street, 5:30 a.m. to 8:45, Elm Street, 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., or as needed for the runners to get across the street. Then Main Street northbound and the northern crossover from 5:30 a.m. to 8:45 a.m. And then the Main Street southbound, 7:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Item number 2. Okay, we'll do them individually then. Okay, thank you, Tom.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the Parks and Rec request. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank
Okay.
you.
Item 6B, the Women's Club, I would like to move that we approve their request. They would like to close the southern crossover from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on June the 6th.
Second.
Paul?
Any discussion? All those in,
What's that for?
this is for the Teddy Bear Festival?
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Item 6C, I'd like to move that for the Marial Center of the Arts, they would like to close Chapel Hill Road on various dates. There's a list that was along with the agenda when they have their performances at the Marial Center. And I don't really want to read all
Thank you, Mary Jane.
12 of them. Thank you, Mary
That's a true
Jane.
gem up there, that's for sure.
Yep.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
And item 6D, I'd like to move for Litchfield County Artisans. The closure they would requested was Church Street crossover and Church Street from Main Street to the municipal parking lot behind the town hall on Saturday, July 18th from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Second.
Thank you.
Any discussion? All those in,
Yeah, I have, oh, sorry.
nope, go ahead.
Discuss.
I want to go back.
To
We
which one?
didn't say what, the crossover for what? Southern crossover for the Women's Club of Greater New Milford. It just says the crossover.
It's
The
It's a teddy
Crossover's
bear.
the one right
Teddy-
here.
Oh.
What street?
So the crossover's right across. the
Crossover
street.
That's
for
the-
Church Street.
Okay,
Didn't
so
say
this,
that's why I'm asking.
yeah, no, she doesn't. The southern crossover is the one here, and then the northern is the one up by, in front of the
Okay.
Congregational.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and that's for the teddy bear.
Yep.
festival. Okay, so, Litchfield Artisans, Paul?
Second it.
So
You
we had,
seconded?
we had a motion and a second.
Yeah.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Item 7, Youth Agency, I'd like to, to request that we move that to approve the Youth Agency to accept a $750 stipend from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. This stipend is to support the youth agency's participation in the 2026 Communities Talk to Prevent Alcohol and Other Drug Misuse initiative. The awarded money would be deposited in an existing grant project as the youth agency has received this funding previously. So, here we have account 43050004950642022 revenue and account 43050005990242022 expense miscellaneous account.
So moved.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any other abstentions? Thank you.
Okay, now we move on to grant compliance specialist things that have done a nice job to get these. So this would be item 8A. The town of New Milford's been awarded $5,000 through the Connecticut Department of Transportation in partnership with the Western Connecticut Council of Governments. This is to host a New Milford Bike Day. This incentive is designed to give children from low-income families the chance to enjoy biking in a safe and supported environment. Through this event, children in need will receive new bicycles, helmets, and reflective vests, helping remove financial barriers and encouraging a healthy, active lifestyle. Item B, and we don't really need to do a motion here, do we?
Yeah, because these are separate, so we'd have to make the
I thought
motion to
I thought
award.
at the end they did it. Okay, so this, I moved that. Do I have a second for that 8A?
And this will be our third year of
Who was
doing
that?
bike.
You?
This will be our
Thanks.
third year of doing Bike Day, so a
Right.
big, huge thank you to the Department of Transportation, as we've been able to get those children in need some wonderful bikes that they can enjoy.
Absolutely.
Are we working with Walmart to get the bike?
Yep, yes, sir.
For years, the Rotary did that, you know, but now it's nice that you do it
Yep.
because the town can handle more kids.
So we have a motion and a second. All
Yep.
those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Any? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Item 8B, I'd like to move the following from the Small Cities Grant, that's a CDBG grant, to be eligible as a recipient, we would be, to be eligible for future funding. The Connecticut Department of Housing requires that each community actively evidence its commitment and actions to support fair housing and equal opportunity principles and practices by adopting an annual fair housing resolution as this. Whereas all persons are afforded a right to full and equal housing opportunities in the neighborhood of their choice, and whereas federal fair housing laws require that all individuals, regardless of race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, or national origin, be given equal access to all housing-related opportunities, including rental, home ownership opportunities, and be allowed to make free choices regarding housing location. And whereas Connecticut fair housing laws require that all individuals, regardless of race, creed, color, national origin, ancestry, sex, marital status, age, lawful source of income or familial status, learning disability, physical or mental disability, sexual orientation or gender identity, or expression be given equal, or any expression be given equal access to all housing-related opportunities, including rental and home ownership opportunities, and be allowed to make free choice regarding housing location. And whereas the town of New Milford is committed to upholding these laws and realizes that these laws must be supplemented by an affirmative statement publicly endorsing the right of all people to full and equal housing opportunities in the neighborhood of their choice. Now, therefore, it is resolved that the town of New Milford hereby endorses a fair housing policy to ensure equal opportunity for all persons to rent, purchase, obtain financing, and enjoy all other housing-related services of their choice on a non-discriminatory basis as provided by state and federal law. And be it further resolved that the Chief Executive Officer of the town of New Milford or his or her designated representative is responsible for responding to and assisting any person who alleges to be a victim of illegal discriminatory housing practice in the town of New Milford, and for advising such person of the right to file a complaint with the State of Connecticut Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities, or the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or to seek assistance from the Connecticut Fair Housing Center legal services, or other fair housing organizations to protect his or her right to equal housing opportunities.
So moved.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Yes. Do we routinely get CDBG allocations in New Milford? I know like Danbury gets like every year they get some. Do we also?
Sporadically we get them. We do apply, but sometimes ours is denied.
Okay.
So we will be applying again this year.
Not as often as Danbury, because a lot of them go through United Way as the,
Yeah.
fiduciary, so I know I see a lot of them, but too small.
And, there were several references to different grants. Is there like, who is applying for these grants? Is that a position in the city that somebody does?
Victoria, she's our grant writer. So she's the one that not only does the grant writing, but also the compliance to make sure that we fully.
Yeah, no, that's our job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Great. Item 8C, I'd like to move along with the following statements. The town of New Milford is eligible to receive up to $15,551 in reimbursements for expenses related to municipal emergency operations centers, staffing, and other emergency management activities through the 2025 Emergency Management Performance Grant Program for the funding period of October 1st through September 30th of 2026. The Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection, Division of Emergency Management and Homeland Security, Emergency Management Performance Grant Program, EMPG. This reimbursable grant can be used for funds spent related to the Emergency Operations Center, the associated staffing, and other emergency management activities such as salaries and/or stipends for emergency management directors and support staff, organizational costs such as phone, fax, internet, equipment cost, radios, computers, printers, travel, training, EOC activations, emergency responses, etc. Resolved that the town of New Milford may enter into with and deliver to the State of Connecticut Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection, Division of Emergency Management and Homeland Security, any and all documents which it deems to be necessary or appropriate. And be it further resolved that Pete Bass, as mayor of the town of New Milford, is authorized and directed to execute and deliver any and all documents on behalf of the town of New Milford Council, and to do so and perform all acts and things which he deems to be necessary or appropriate to carry out the term of such documents. And I think that's the end of that. Yep. Okay,
Any
who is
other
that?
discussion?
Paul?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
Okay.
Next is the discussion and update on Century
Oh,
Brass.
yes, good. I don't have to read
I've
that.
asked Jack to come in and update the council on kind of where we are as far as the remediation process. And the good news that came with that, right?
Yeah. Good evening. We're continuing doing the environmental assessment and work at the Century Brass site. And I think the first thing, and I think I mentioned this last meeting, but it is good news. On April 29th, excuse me?
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
But just for the people that are watching, both on camera and here in the audience, and for some of our newer town council members, can you go over your work history?
Yeah, I can. Actually, end of this month, it'll be 48 years of doing engineering work. I started June 1st, 1978 at Anaconda. Yeah, I haven't done as long as you. But over that time, I've spent time at multiple companies. And I started to transition into doing facilities and environmental work in 1982 and 83. And at that time, I went to Waterbury State Tech, picked up like an associate's degree certificate there, and then in 1989, I became an adjunct professor and taught there until 2020 in their environmental division. I continue to teach at Ames College in Colorado doing energy work. At Anaconda, I stayed until 85 doing environmental facilities work. And then I took a job at the Torrington Company where I was the environmental, I call me environmental guy, but the environmental, it started off as the engineer and ended up being the plant engineering manager for worldwide operations. I also served on Ingersoll Rand's Environmental Health and Safety Council until 2024. Went to work at a company called ERM, Environmental Resource Management, as one of their environmental managers. I worked on due diligence of acquisition divestitures of companies, doing the due diligence for environmental that was worldwide. I was involved also with building manufacturing plants in China and in the Czech Republic, along with many in the United States. Returned to Ingersoll Rand for a couple of years as an environmental health and safety person at multiple facilities, at which time I then took a position in town of Litchfield as their public works director. Then I went to Berlin as a public works director, town manager, and then you hired me.
So Jack, in the private sector, we'll go back to that, in environmental, what would be something that they would call you on? I know when we were having to go up to Torrington, where the new courthouse is, you're telling me that used to be an old factory.
Yeah.
That you actually were called upon. Could you kind of explain like why they would call you?
Well, one, my office sat there, but most of the reason was when I was hired, they had some environmental compliance issues. In 18 years, we went from when I got there to where we actually had people from DEP coming over and working with us and us training them in manufacturing processes. We also got the Governor's Award in South Carolina. We are ISO 14000 certified. We worked on remediation, RECRA sites. We talk about Century Brass. It is a RECRA Part B facility. Torrington Company had multiple RECRA Part B facilities which I managed, including the delisting and remediation of those. I managed the remediation budget, including the budgeting and reporting. For the end report, you have to show financial assurance. So every year I would sit with the vice president of Torrington Company or Ingersoll Rand, and we would go through and establish the financial assurance for the company on environmental impairment.
So Jack, on this particular project, Century Brass, which the town has spent millions of dollars, and we'll get into that a little bit more, especially when we got our revolving loan from DECD, right, that we need to comply to, because that's revolving loan money. We don't comply to the DECD, they could call that loan back.
Yeah.
Yep.
We are working on, oh, sorry.
So I was just going to say, so Jack, you not only, when you came on, we talked about that, you kind of have to lead the charge on that, but you were also intimately involved with the consultants that are still on site and have been on site when it comes to the remediation progress.
Yeah.
And when it comes to making sure that the facility would be clean enough for any kind of use that we would put on.
Absolutely. TRC was brought on. There's been a couple, Time Bond and TRC. The town transitioned from Time Bond to TRC probably around 2014 or 15. TRC has been your environmental consultant for that site. We have others for other sites. For that site, we are working with them. We're on the third iteration of people. The other two retired, and we're on to the third iteration. They've been very diligent. In the past couple months, we have received an approval for what they call a QAP. It's a quality assurance program for the remediation program. We filed a remediation plan about a year and a half ago. You have to produce a quality assurance plan so that when you do the sampling and when you identify areas, you follow this plan, and so there's quality control on this the entire time. The QAP, if somebody wants to read, it's about 1,000 pages or something. You won't have trouble sleeping, but it's a very detailed plan. DEP approved that on February 17th. Just a history, there's been about 50 reports, just environmental reports on that site over its history.
15 or 50?
50, 50. Also, when they started, there were 33 AOCs, areas of concern. We're down to 13, which right now we're just working through closure. The quality assurance program will be what we'll be using when we go through to identify areas where we're going to do the closure. Also, in 2004, there was an identification of a significant environmental hazard. They found MTBE in the groundwater, and there was a concern about manganese. We did some checking with the health department. We need to go out and sample a drinking water well. We've received the data. We submitted the data to the state of South Carolina. Excuse me. I'm sorry, I moved on you. I spent a lot of time in South Carolina, so I'm Connecticut, and we received on the 29th a certificate of compliance on the SEH. In there, they say we're in full compliance with that, and of course, as a good regulatory body says, you still have to do your remediation stuff, which we are doing.
So Jack, for a layman like myself, right, a lot of acronyms there. So you talked a little bit about water, and then you just talked about acronym
AOC?
An AOC,
Yeah.
and that now it is
Areas of concern.
area of concern, and that has now been lifted. Can you
There's
talk?
33 of them have started. We're down to 13, and these are, what areas of concern is when you start a Part B permit, you hire someone like me at the time when I was a consultant. I come out and I walk through your facility. And I say, okay, you stored hazardous waste drums there, you got underground storage tank there, you have lagoons out here, you may have had a PCB transfer, and you go through and you identify all these areas. And you write a detailed report saying these are areas of concern. Those areas of concern then go to the department, and then you identify what you're going to do, how you're going to go and you're going to identify these. You may potentially sample them. You may make visual observations, like if a transformer is not leaking, there's no staining, you may say, okay, that transformer does not need to be, and you check it off. So they start off with 33. We're down to 13, and some of these are very minor types of things. Some of them are going to take a little more work, and we're working through that right now. Some of these areas are in locations where if the town was to move the public works facility there, they would have to be closed out before, and that's where we're focusing on those areas.
And Jack, you mentioned water.
Yeah.
Right? That you went ahead and you did testing on a well or wells, and they came back how?
Clean. That's the only way you would get a certificate of compliance from DEP. We actually worked very closely with DEP on identifying those. They had brought them up to me and they said we needed to do this to close that out. We went back and forth. We established what we were going to do. We produced the information to them. They go through a review of it. It goes up to the department head before they will give you an approval. They gave us an approval on that.
And that ended that part right there with that approval.
Yeah, the significant environmental hazard is now removed and, well, it's closed. You never remove it. What it does, you'll see on there, it's closed.
Good.
All right.
Have there been two hazard mitigation plan reports that recommend that we not use the Century Brass site for DPW or other critical facilities, not because the water underneath is bad, but because the flooding, being in a flood zone, could spread hazardous waste from the DPW if it were there?
Not from our consultants. Those were done by Westcog, and they're not part of our plan. And that's, we are located now in a floodplain. That's open for the 100-year floodplain. Potentially would come up to just inside the property line, and that's it.
But if Westcog's concerned, you're not. Why is your position different?
I think that there could be concern, but if you look at the history of how often this gets flooded, it's very infrequent. In fact, I've been here now 8 years. There's nothing even been remotely close to that. If you go back over time, I don't remember. I don't think it was back until like the early 80s that even Youngsfield Road flooded. And when we do get any type of heavy rain, which we've had quite a bit in the last couple of years, part of Route 7's flooded, overtopped, and that's been it.
And so you have no concerns that if we put the DPW there, because that's in a flood zone, you have no concerns about that?
I have very limited concern about that, yes. Also, a lot has changed since those studies. The bridges have changed in the town. If you look at the bridge on Aspetuck Ridge, that's a new bridge. You're building bridges now to standards of 1.2 times the bank width and above the floodplain. So, and we are continuing to do that. If you look at all the bridges we're building, they are above that. So I think that it is a good location to put this. It's a good use of a brownfield facility. And there are, if we got overly concerned about it, there are options of putting it in a different way out of the facility.
But if we were to put DPW there, we'd have like a gas station there. There would be kinds of waste that would be there then that aren't there now, right? So if it
They were
did
there
flood,
before, and they're on the site, on the public works site now. And we've taken that.
If we were to move them to Century Brass, that's where they'd be located, right? There'd be like a gas station there.
It would be a
places to store
facility
toxins
which has
and-
already been approved by the Aquifer Protection Agency.
Right, but it being in a flooding zone, maybe it doesn't happen every year, but when it would happen, where would that waste go?
Well, first of all, you operate it such that there's a process so that you're not discharging any waste to the ground. You have to have that in place. As far as the tank goes, we put a tank right next to Public Works like 3 years ago, and as part of, we met with wetlands, we met with them about that, and you can chain it down and bolt it down. We took that plan to both the Aquifer Protection and to DEP, and the location of the potential location for a gasoline facility there was approved.
Thank you.
Any other questions to Jack on the update so far, Central Brass?
I want to make sure.
And we'll discuss, Ari had asked to put the third-party thing, that's gonna be later on the agenda. But this, I just wanted town council to kind of get an update where we are so far in the process of Century Brass.
Thank you, Jack.
Mary Jane?
Jack, how many wells are actually on the property?
There was one well associated with Century Brass. There was a well, it was a permitted, there's 2 withdrawal permits at the Century Brass site when I got here. They're both closed out. There was a withdrawal well registered with DEP that was in the center of this facility. We got a notice from them probably in 2021 or so, asking if we wanted to renew it. We didn't renew it, and therefore what you do is you close it out using their closure process. You hire a registered firm, they come in, they properly close the well, they put bentonite in there and close the well, so there's no possibility of water moving from the surface into the groundwater. There are no more wells on the site. As part of remediation, we probably will have to put a couple of monitoring wells on. That's typical for a record facility.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jack, if you could still stay up here for a second. We have the request for using some of the money from some of the roofs that we had.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the extra money.
Do you want me to do the?
Yep.
Okay, so, item 9B, I'd like to move that we take the action of transferring $56,850 of the unexpended balance from the free senior center roof project. And that account is 430-500-000-59902-96003 and $39,665 of the unexpended balance from the Max Roof Project, account 430-500-000-59907. That would go to the JPCC Roof Project, account 430-500-000-59902-96003 within the Capital Reserve Fund.
Thank you. And a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any? Thank you. Okay, Katie, next.
Okay, is the discussion and possible action, I'd like to move that there's a resolution, and this is number 9C, from the Still River Drive and Pumpkin Hill Road intersection improvement project. And it is resolved that Pete Bass, Mayor of the Town of New Milford, is hereby authorized to execute on behalf of the Town of New Milford a grading and drainage easement and agreement by and between the State of Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, as we know, DEEP, to enable the town of New Milford to roadway construction activities at land owned by DEEP, being known as a portion of Lover's Leap State Park, and it is authorized to execute and enter into all documents necessary to consummate the agreement above contemplated. Thank you.
Thank you. And Chuck, if you could give a little update on this project. It's been a while in the making.
Hey, good afternoon. Chuck Ballard, design engineer for the town of New Milford. This is the Pumpkin Hill Still River Drive intersection improvement project. This is where we're kind of teeing up that intersection and adding a turn lane on Still River Drive, Grove Street, so that way they can safely make that turn. What this really entails is DEP is asking for a formal easement, so that way we could drain water like we currently are doing onto their property. Right now there's no formal easement. They just basically want to document what we're doing now. We're going to make repairs to that so we can outlet water and put in some proper, basically, spillways onto their property. So all this does is just formalize exactly what we're doing currently now, is just taking the road water out through the catch basins into the property, and it then eventually empties into the river now. So this is just a survey, a map, documentation, and then eventually be signed off on an agreement. This just gives the mayor permission to sign off on said easements and move forward. This comes along with basically a $2,000 documentation fee through the state of Connecticut. All the survey maps and documentation is being handled by the state. But again, this is just the resolution to be allowed to perform these activities.
And Chuck, for the minutes and for those watching, just to confirm, the Still River Drive and Pumpkin Hill Road intersection project would do what?
This will improve the traffic safety for that intersection by allowing a turn lane specifically for traffic heading in the southbound direction coming down Grove Street heading towards Still River. It'll provide a turn lane for those wanting to turn left into Pumpkin Hill. Right now we see a high incident of rear end crashes specifically in that intersection, so it'll provide safer turning movements for those, and provide a little bit of better sight line for those coming out of Pumpkin Hill wanting to take a left as well. So we're not looking to do a traffic signal there. It's just more improved, kind of tee up that intersection, allow for better sight lines and just better traffic flow, reduce some congestion as well, so that way cars can free flow instead of just queuing up and waiting for people to turn left onto Pumpkin Hill.
Yep. Any questions for Chuck?
Oh, that's really needed.
Oh,
I just, if you're coming down Pumpkin Hill and it's high traffic time, like at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and you want to take a left.
It's horrible.
Good luck, is right.
Yeah.
You can't get out. Yeah. Unless somebody's going to be kind.
And they're not. They speed up.
You are still waiting on the courtesy of other drivers, I do agree. But at least for those that are waiting in a queue, there will be some ability to pass. And it'll, there is a high frequency of, rear end crashes or crashes in general there, so.
It's another bad spot. It's as bad as Pine Hill. It'll help having that.
Yeah, it'll help.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck. Mayor, item 10, would you like me to read 10A?
Yes, please.
Okay, I would like for a discussion, but I will move that we take action on hiring a third party to investigate alternative locations for the Department of Public Works, which includes analysis, space programming, concept, design, with an amount not to exceed $200,000.
Second.
I know, Ari, you had brought this up. If you'd like to talk a little bit about your motion.
Sure. Well, I think there could be some advantages to moving DPW to the Century Brass site. We already own it, and so there's a cost savings to that, but I wouldn't want us to be penny wise and a pound foolish. I would want to explore all of the options that are available. Sometimes if you go with the least expensive thing, there are unanticipated expenses and opportunity costs that can come up afterwards. So it seems reasonable and prudent to have a third party investigate what are the options available to us so that we can make a wise decision.
Thank you, Ari. I'd like to bring Jack back up, if you can, Jack. Whoops.
Careful.
And kind of just some brief history for those watching and those that are new on the council. This is something that we've been talking about since 1993. A couple things, you can look at the POCD from 2010. When you look at the POCD page 82, there's a section Public Works. The needs for general public works facilities are included here. Discussions about waste disposal and road maintenance are outlined later. The DPW facilities are located on Youngsfield Road. Facilities include offices, equipment storage, a salt storage barn, fuel station, and recycling center. According to the DPW, the facilities, some of which are 80 years old, are outdated and undersized to meet the modern needs. Specific needs include indoor and outdoor storage space for equipment, upgrades to comply with state and federal environmental and safety regulations, wash space for vehicles. The DPW facilities are not in an optimal location. The property located between the downtown and the historic Housatonic River could be put to better use. DPW facilities have an industrial nature and are not compatible with nearby residents. DPW has indicated that its preference would be to relocate to an industrial zone where they would have adequate space for their facilities and a few hours nearby. I preface this first that this was in 2010. I believe, Mary Jane, you and I were on town council. I was not mayor in 2010. I was on town council, so I was not mayor. Couple other housekeeping items as well is, give me just one moment here. This was back in January 26th, 2015. Randy remembers this. This was from Laura Regan, our zoning enforcement officer. The town has submitted a map amendment application for a zone change of 12 Scoville Street, commonly referred to as the Century Brass Enterprise Center property, consisting of 2 tax lots, maps 35, lots 4 and 5, totaling 65.88 acres, from the industrial I zone to the government service GSD zone. I have reviewed the following documents: petition to amend the zoning map, letter of request from Mayor Patricia Murphy, tax assessor's map, list of abutting property owners, Schedule A legal description, and it goes on legal description, property line adjustment, memo from Joseph Giodor, Planning Commission Chairman. The subject is 65.8 acre site, has frontage on the west side of the Aspetuck Ridge Road, northern side of the Housatonic Avenue, is accessed from Scoville Street, which is a dead-end road off the west side of the Aspetuck Ridge Road. The site is currently located in the industrial I zone, and it is surrounded by a diverse mix of zoning districts and uses. To the north, it is bordered by vacant land and has been approved for development at that time of a 64-unit active adult community called the Sycamores. That hasn't happened. The south, it is bordered by the Housatonic Railroad, Housatonic Avenue, the Milford Ambulance Headquarters. To the east, it is bordered by a vacant lot, a single-family residence, and a contractor's shop with caretaker's apartment. Across Aspetuck Ridge Road to the east, there is landscaping business, attorney's office, single-family homes, Two Rivers Lane it's called. To the west side is bordered by the New Milford Farms, 2 vacant properties that have been approved for construction of 2 multi-unit warehouse buildings, but that currently contains single-family homes. The West Aspetuck River borders the northeast corner of the property, and the easterly quarter of the property is located in a 100-year floodplain. The majority of the site is located in the town's aquifer protection area. Site and history of the existing conditions. They talk about the lot numbers, and they said in 1999, the town obtained the property by tax foreclosure with financial assistance from both the state and federal governments. Over the last 15 years, at that time, the property has undergone a multi-million-dollar environmental assessment and cleanup. However, the vacant building contaminated with asbestos and PCB still remains. That now has been taken down. So in March 2014, the town was awarded $2.5 million from the State Department of Economic and Community Development. That's the revolving loan we talk about, which is to assist in the demolition and proper disposal of the building, which is targeted to begin in the spring. And this is where Mayor Murphy gave her proposal to the Department of Economic Development. Mayor Patricia Murphy, on behalf of the town, is requesting a zone change of the 65.88 acre site from the industrial zone to the Government Services District. Now, I remind you, this is in 2015. So that was 11 years ago. The GSD is an overlay zone, so it will be placed on top of or in addition to the underlying base district, which in this case is the industrial zone. According to the mayor's letter of request, the addition of the GSD will allow the town more flexibility in the use of the property by allowing potential for some government service district uses on portions of the property. The government service zone is a class of district in addition to an overlapping one or more of the other districts. The purpose of the government service zone is to ensure that the use of land, buildings, and other structures in site development within the zone are conditioned in a manner that protects the public health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the town of New Milford, and will not hinder nor discourage the appropriate development and use of adjacent property or impair value thereof. So, Jack, as I'm going to continue to read that, but with your extensive experience doing all of these type of projects, one of the things that we need to be cognizant of is the town of New Milford. If we were to move forward with a project of public works, moving from where it is right now, 80-year-old buildings that are very non-compliant as it is, into a state-of-the-art facility, would we be protecting the public health, safety, and welfare of the citizens as we would be at Century Brass?
Yeah, I think when you build a new facility, you bring it up to current standards, both from a building code to a fire code to environmental regulations. And those buildings were built before EPA or DEP or anybody existed. As part of when you apply for aquifer protection and permits, you have to give them a materials management plan. You have to describe how you handle your materials, any waste, any raw materials, things like that. There's secondary containment, there's ways of making sure that you protect the environment and having any material go into the environment. That's a requirement of what you do today. Whether you're in a public facility, whether you're in a private facility, that's what you do. You're subject to audits or inspections by DEP, by OSHA to come in. But that's while you'll say you're subject to that, you shouldn't operate at a minimum. You should operate above that, and that's the goal of what we're doing as we meet. And if you ask any of my staff to come up here and talk to you now, they'll tell you that when I teach environmental regulations, the first thing I say when I start the course is compliance is not the goal. That's just the starting point, and that's how we're operating here. As we go forward, we're going to design this so that we're an example of how you design a public works facility in 2026 and going forward. We look at looking at alternative materials, making sure whatever we use is as least hazardous as possible. When we design something like a salt shed, it's going to make sure that we have a membrane underneath it, and you put down asphalt underneath, not concrete, which is somewhat different from what people would think. Concrete gets eaten by the salt, so you use an asphalt. It's all contained there. We're going to make sure that we do that kind of thing, and that it's well maintained and swept. There will be industrial. You have to comply with the stormwater sampling, so we'll be making sure our systems work so that that there's not material getting into any of the drains as we do now. We're doing this today. We're improving, and we're constantly talking. We're going for an accreditation right now for public works. We'll be one of like 3 in the state that is accredited. As part of that, you have to put in your processes and your procedures, such as you would with ISO 14000. So all I'm doing is taking ISO 14000 and I'm saying, okay, use that as an example of what we got to do. And I mean, Chuck's here, and the other staff, if you asked them, I'm more than willing to say, you asked anyone, and they'll tell you that's our discussion every day.
Jack, as I'm continuing to read this, the Government Service District, Section 085020 Use Classifications. This is obviously subject to approval, zoning. The following municipal regional uses of land, in addition to uses of land permitted by right or by special permit and the underlying zone, are permitted in the government service zone upon acquisition of a special permit from the commission. Number 1, a public works yard, parking, storage and repair of all public works vehicles. 2, operation of heavy equipment. 3, storage of sand, gravel, salt, and construction materials. 4, recycle activities. 5, storage of tire and white goods. 6, a sign shop. 7, ambulance building and storage. 8, service trailers. 9, leaf pile storage and composting, which would be in a Vector building because we want to be compliant. 10, any public services activity necessary to respond to an emergency. 11, bulky solid waste transfer station, bulky waste transfer station. And then this is Laura. In my opinion, the additional uses permitted within GSC are consistent and compatible with the uses already permitted on the property in the industrial zone. Conclusion, changing the zoning designation of the property is a legislative power. The highest level of discretion of the zoning commission. Therefore, from a regulatory standpoint, the only guidance she could offer is that the commission should find the change to be in accordance with the plan, reasonably related to the normal police power purchases. Randy, was this approved by zoning?
It was.
I'd like to go to the Milford Zoning Commission regular meeting minutes of February 10th, 2015. This would be page 3, and I'll make sure you have all these so you can put it in the minutes. Mayor Patricia Murphy gave an overview of how the grant was obtained by the Department of Economic and Community Development. Therefore, the expectation is that the property be used for economic development. She said that the town is looking to potentially move some, if not all, of the Department of Public Works activities to this location. Mind you again, minutes, February 10th, 2015. This relocation of the DPW activities, such as rock crushing, should also improve conditions for the residents that are so close to the current operation. The town is looking to market this property to cleaner light industrial manufacturing as well. Mayor Murphy explained the entire relocation of DPW would likely occur out of an agreement should someone desire to do something on the riverfront. The town would look for financial assistance from interested parties to move DPW from its current location to this site. The front side of the property has been presented to the state as potentially 4 or 5 parcels that could be used for current businesses. Mr. Taylor opened the floor to the public. There was no participation. Mr. Ward moved to close the public hearing for the town of New Milford map amendment application for the zone change 12 Scoville Street, Century Enterprise Center consisting of 2 tax lots, map 35, lots 4 or 5, totaling approximately 65.88 acres from the industrial zone to the government services district. The motion was seconded by Ms. Florio and carried unanimously. So as you can see, this is now a government zone. This was not done a year ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, 7 years ago. This was done by former administrations. Ari, I'll let you had a question, and I have some other information I'd like to pass out as well.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say, Jack, we're lucky to have you on the team. There's probably nobody within a radius of 100 miles with your experience and expertise, and we're fortunate to have you. Thank you for your service. That being said, you know, I'm sure you can understand that there's still going to be a lot of people in this town that are still going to be concerned about the aquifer and the wetlands nearby and aren't going to necessarily be convinced by your assessment, because most of the calamities that have happened have been approved and accepted by science, but you know, nature runs its course. And we're living in a time of extreme climate change, and that can lead to heavier storms. Maybe the bridges are different, but the storms are getting worse, and there could certainly be more severe flooding in that flooding zone. So that's a concern people are going to have, notwithstanding your expertise on the subject. And Mr. Mayor, I just want to say, you've been referring to several documents from 2010 through 2015. And first of all, I want to say we're not necessarily bound to follow through on the aspirations of 10, 15 years ago, but some of these are good ideas. Like, I agree that Public Works, the whole town would be better served if Public Works were relocated, if we had a state-of-the-art facility. Like, you've got no objection from me, and I think most people would really like to see that. And I don't think anyone's got any objections to the zone change, but just because the zone was changed and an aspiration of the DPW moving there, my understanding is it can't actually happen without the town approving and
Correct.
that kind of thing. So
Correct. Yes, sir. Jack, I know that one of the things I wanted the council to see was, I believe you have a map that shows what the government overlay zone would look like. And this was done, when was this done, Jack?
2016, so the pen mark on the bottom right corner is my pen mark. I looked at the date today. This was a plan produced in 2016 that shows multiple uses for the site, including public works. This was in our file.
Yeah, Jack, if we could start over with Mary Jane and Diane, and we can kind of move it around. So you can see this is something that has been...
Just about 10 years.
Yep, this is something that's been talked about for several years.
For several years.
And I know, Tom, you were also involved when Mayor Murphy was talking about the government services zone to get the revolving loan. And one of those was talking about how we could be energy efficient there as well.
Yeah, there should be a tennis court size piece there that showed a potential fuel cell, which was one of the one of the key things the state was looking for, having energy efficiency as part of any of their grants for any cleanup was always a benefit. But we started this, I mean, the meetings for the 2010 POCD, where we had hundreds of people coming out to these sessions again in 2020. I participated in both of them. And these are long-range studies that what the Plan of Conservation and Development is, based on public input. And we had a tremendous amount of public input.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. And one of the things, thank you, Jack. Jack, if you could move over here. One of the things when I did become mayor and Jack became Public Works Director, I was going to say one of the things when I became mayor and then Jack became Public Works Director, we were looking at this was pre-COVID. We looked at, seeing the needs of, as we did a needs assessment, seeing the needs of the current facility, how woefully lacking that was, all of the investment they were putting in machinery, and how it sits outside, environmentally not the best thing to have, especially when you're a stone's throw across from the river. So Jack, we did look at other locations for the Brass Mill site. Yeah. One of them was right now where the roundabout was with O&G with their property. They have now kind of parceled that out, but we looked at that as one area. We looked at Pettibone as another area. And we also looked at Century Brass. Jack, in your opinion, as you had stated to me before, what is, in your opinion, the best area for our soon-to-be, or hopefully with public approval, a new Public Works state-of-the-art facility?
We came to the conclusion after doing that, because the proximity, it's just not, one, it's a brownfield site, and you should reuse brownfield site. You don't want to use virgin property to develop. So that's something you go through with EPA, and when you're working on these things, you should I was involved with the Fafner sites in New Britain and Torrington. I'm still involved with the Torrington sites. A friend of mine is the engineer there. But you should reuse a site like this, one. Two, it's flat, and I know Tom and the mayor were very much involved, and I'm still working on this, as being able to get solar power there and being able to generate more than what we would need. And we're looking at different ways of being able to use that power. We looked at setting up a microgrid, and Randy was involved. We looked at all kinds of different ways of doing this. We're still looking at this, and there is, state grants and things for doing that, but we have to get past this point. And maybe one of the more important things, it's central to the town. If you look at the way New Milford's configured, it's like central to the town. It's a good location as far as getting out. You can go up to Marial, you can go out to River Road, and you can go down through the center of town. We have to be careful where else we go when we go to put this. As far as also, I've been involved as a selectman and a board of finance in Litchfield. I was a town manager in Berlin. One of the things that I constantly was, and I still talk to the town of Litchfield about, is the town doesn't want to, remove a lot of property off tax rolls. You need that. And you shouldn't take on any more property than you need. So when you have a site like this, you already own it, you're not going to take it off the tax rolls. It's a good reapplication. And if we're able to generate electrical power there, it's a good utilization. And we're not buying a piece of greenfield property and having to develop that and taking that off the tax rolls. That was the way I managed wherever I've been, and I looked at doing that. And all right, one thing, just so you know, I understand, and it is a new world today as far as argument, but I can tell you my experience of trying to get two schools through the town of Litchfield, it's from 2002 to 2006. It's exciting, and you have a lot of public meetings, so I'm familiar, and I think it's a good thing. Debate is always a good thing.
And Jack, to kind of stay on that, because there are concerns, as Ari had said, from some of our public when it comes to water, when it comes to really being environmentally sound. So what I did is the council sees here, and for the public, you have the minutes here. We may not understand, some people may just think our aquifer zone is just Century Brass.
No.
That's not anywhere the case. It's pretty huge. Huge. Matter of fact, so huge, I'm going to give you some of the places that are in this zone. So if we're concerned about the aquifer and we're concerned about the zone, then I should probably be talking to these entities too, to let them know. Canterbury School, Mr. Coolbeth, Sinkowitz and McKenna, Yard Apes, New Milford Internal Medicines, the Malik Group, A1 Auto Body, A Muddy Paw, Bike Express, J&J Auto Body, Mr. Gardner, who's right there on the bridge. Just going there. Let's see, Oddfellows, the gas stations that are up along there. I already talked to you, Rolando. Your area there. McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
The gas. Yep. Let's see, some of the, let's see, I'm just going through this right here. Some of the retail spaces that we have, the Karate Studio, Retails, Veterans Plaza, Big Y, Savings Bank of Danbury, Litchfield, let's see, Housatonic Valley Radiology, Connecticut Orthopedic Services, Advanced Specialty Care. It's now Echo Church, used to be the Bible Baptist Church, the Temple. These are all ones, Aquarian Water, O'Brien Insurance, the Deli, Marindola Fuel, Canowood Animal Hospital. Let's see who else we have here. Lillis Funeral Home, J&J Collision and Repair, West Street Power, the New Milford Foundry, the Bleachery, Mitchell Oil. These are just to name a few that are in the aquifer. And the reason why I brought that up tonight, and I continue to bring it up, is we don't live in a perfect world. Don't live in one. But what we can do is use ingenuity, technology that God gave us to overcome things. And if we are going to set a standard, so I hear a standard when people come at public participation, the standard, then you need to have the standard throughout the whole aquifer protection. That means all these. That means Agway. That means all those entities. Or do we do it the smart way? We listen to our own DPW director you heard his extensive experience. Oh my gosh. Who's taken a look at other locations? Who just told you today, this is the best spot that we have for many reasons? Jack, quick question. Does Connecticut have their own Department of Transportation DPW facility, the one that's on Kent Road, across the street from the brewery? Is that on the aquifer?
Yep.
Ari?
So you mentioned several places that are already on top of the aquifer, but that doesn't mean that we would just want, unbridled development beyond what we already have. And most of the places that you mentioned, some have, storage of some toxins, but not at the same level that the DPW would have. I mean, it would have a gas station, it would have a giant pile of salt, and it's in a flood zone. Not all of those, they might be over the aquifer, but they might not be in a flood zone, all of them. And so there's a difference for this, and I think that's why a lot of people are concerned.
All right, great questions. As far as the flood zone area, you would be talking from probably Nestle or the old Medstill property, all the way down to Housatonic, all the way to the Bleachery. You'd be talking about Big Y, even before that, all the way down Route 7, all the way almost to McDonald's. They're all in a flood zone. They're all there. And the point that I was just trying to make is we can use technology to help mitigate that risk so that we don't have issues. Right now at our DPW facility, those are 1940 buildings. We're more at risk today with those being there than if we moved it to a state-of-the-art facility. Jack?
Because there's the terminology flood zone. There's different levels. On the Century Brass site, there's actually three different levels. The 100-year floodplain, which is the one when we apply to zoning, we have to stay out of the 100-year floodplain. If you drive in, you'll notice there's like a depression and the road goes up like this. It's that depressed area. Once you get out of that, you're out of the 100-year floodplain. You are now up into the 500-year floodplain. The only place on the property that's not in a 500-year floodplain is the actual concrete that the old building sat on. But when you apply to zoning all along Route 7 or any place there, you're talking about the 100-year floodplain. So we are not building in the 100-year floodplain. Just as the Public Works for the state of Connecticut, if you look, there's some odd walls and things. You're going to say, why did they build it that way? It's out of the 100-year floodplain.
Well, climate change, the 100-year floodplain might not be 100 years. It might be a lot less than that, right? I mean, we're seeing a lot of severe weather already, and it's definitely going to be getting worse. I mean, I don't think anyone's in disagreement about that. Sorry, Sal, I wasn't done talking. Sal, point of order. I was talking. We're all being really respectful today. You don't need to interrupt. I don't talk nonsense.
You do. I mean, we're talking about climate change. You proposed 200,000.
There's no need for you to interrupt.
You proposed 200,000. Now we're talking climate change. Okay, go ahead.
It's not necessary.
It makes no sense.
You have plenty of opportunities to speak if you'd like to.
Go for it.
It's not gibberish
Go for it.
crap.
Go.
I've been distracted and I've lost my train of thought. So.
Exactly. Because you never had one.
Climate change.
Yeah.
Let me talking about.
So, I'd like to just speak up.
And then Sal.
I find it kind of ironic
that the same people that are opposing this move of the DPW to the brass mill never spoke up when there was steel with concentrations of asphalt and PCBs laying on the property during the last administration. Nor do I remember them complaining about the fact that we were going to have ammonia gas transferred through the town by rail to go over to the new plan of a power plant on that property. Nobody that was on this council ever took and opposed that. And I find it very ironic. During this construction, if I'm not mistaken, we got two big brothers that are going to be watching us. We got the state of Connecticut and we've got this, the federal government. Both of them are going to be looking at whatever we do on that property and ensuring the fact that it's safe. And before we go spend $200,000 of money that we can use to build the property, I find it ironic that the taxpayers are already paying the state and the federal government tax money for their agencies to be watching us. So I think enough of it is enough. I've had enough listening to everybody. I've listened to emails. I've listened to people on the street. 70% of the people that voted in the last 3 elections or 4 elections want the DPW moved over to the brass mill. And I don't know where we can go from there, but I've had it right to here.
So, I mean, you seem to be suggesting that it's politicized, but
It is politicized.
Well,
it's politicized.
Perhaps it is for
Of
some
course
people,
it
but
is.
It isn't for me.
Well,
And I
it's-
don't think it's politicized for the most.
It's
of the
going through
people,
some of your
honestly.
followers. So let's stop it.
So the last administration was who?
If we've got an authorization to put the DPW over on the brass mill, then I'm all for it. Somebody's going to make us stop sooner or later, either the federal government or the state, if there's a problem. We've already.
I second almost all of your motions, so it's not.
I understand that. This has nothing to do with my emotions or seconds or anything else. It's basic fact. We're sitting here and arguing about a move of a DPW that's been going on for years and years and years. I'm a 9th generation, I'm sure other people here are the same thing, 9th generation of person living in this town. I've got 11th generation nieces and nephews that are living in this town. I'm not going to do anything that's going to hurt my future dependents. Period.
Not purposefully, but we can all make mistakes.
We have a motion and a
We
second.
have Sal.
Sal, you want to speak?
Wanted to talk?
All right, so we've been listening for about an hour now, Jack explaining-ish, kind of, sort of. So, as far as I'm concerned, DPW right now is in a big-time flood zone, right? Because if anything happens, and the building's old and everything else, so if anything, what we're planning to do is going to improve the situation, not make it worse. So what's in front of us is right now $200,000, and who's going to pay for this? You, everybody who's watching us, me too. $200,000 for a fantasy. Someone's gonna come, someone's gonna produce AI presentation, someone's gonna do something, and it's gonna walk away. I don't know consultants who's not gonna take $200,000 and walk with another bullshit. So for $200,000, this is pure fluff. We've got expertise. We've got this thing going on. I've been listening to this way before you did when you joined this council. So this is not new. We've discussed it to the point of fascination. $200,000 for what? For something, for the climate change? Ridiculous. Let's cut it off. It's people that are paying for this. The ones that are watching us. $200,000. Give them the money if you want to spend that kind of money for the energy bill that they pay right now, for all the crap that the Connecticut give it to them. It's nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
We spent we spent $5 million a few years ago to buy equipment for this town.
Precisely.
To save the taxpayers' money.
Precisely.
That same equipment is sitting out in front of the building that we've got right now, rusting.
Precisely.
Damaged by snow, wind, rain, and anything else environment. And not only that, but we also have probably kids busting into some of this stuff. So we've got to do something sooner. We're throwing $5 million down the drain.
It's not even a point. It's no discussion.
I agree with Paul that we've got to do something. I don't think $200,000 is unreasonable. I think that's due diligence. And we could subject ourselves to a liability that would vastly exceed $200,000 if we don't play our cards right and be smart about it. You don't have to cut me off every time, Sal. I'm talking right now, and you're cutting me off every time.
I know,
and it's
you know,
rude.
you're
It's a point of
sabotaging.
order.
The
You
problem
really
with
need
you is
to
you're
watch
sabotaging.
yourself.
You're sabotaging.
That's
You're
not
coming up with
okay.
something
It's not
that's
okay to
completely-
talk on top
No,
of
you're
people all the
sabotaging.
time.
I'm telling you, you're sabotaging.
Pardon me.
Diane?
Thank you, Pete. So as a member of the 2020 POCD and a member right now of Riverfront Revitalization, I have heard Jack and his people describing what has been done and what will be done at Century Brass if DPW goes there. And I am completely convinced, I'm blown away by your qualifications. I heard about those for the first time tonight. That was unbelievable. Just a little, yeah. I am completely convinced that Century Brass is the best place for it. I've always felt that way. And I cannot imagine spending money to hire consultants because we have gentlemen here. We have Chuck Ballard and Jack Healy and Dan Calhoun who know this town, you know, every single inch. And I don't think for a moment that they haven't considered everything that could be considered, and this is the best thing for us. So I'm going to be voting against hiring any sort of consultant.
Mary Jane?
So if we were to look at another area to put the DPW, what would eliminate the area? Like, you need to be on the east side of the river versus the west side of the river?
I think that's sort of like one of these, you know, if you're once.
I mean, because if we did have a big flood and you're on the west side of the river, we'd be screwed basically, right? Is there any other property? Like how many, it's what, 16 acres that?
There's 60 acres there. What I would say is 54 acres is nice and flat. It's that, you know, when you drive out there, you see that flat area.
How many acres are you going to be using, did you say? Like,
we're going to use probably like about 25 to 30 of it because we're still doing a remediation on top of the slab and stuff. And then there's also the smoke tower. Remember, we've got the smoke tower, which the fire department's already purchased. It's sitting there waiting so we can erect the smoke tower. So they're going to be using part of the site too.
Yeah. If you had to look around the town to another area, is there any other area that could provide you what you need? Is there any place?
Not really. I mean, not that's readily available, that you're not having to no, not really. This is flat, it's well located, it's centrally located, it's got a good distribution in multiple directions to leave.
It's not hurting the tax rolls.
Yeah, well, that's, you know, that's.
So let's bring that up to the people who you know, are paying taxes.
Maybe District Road.
No, you don't want to be on, you know, that's pretty much used up. You don't want to put it at Pettibone because, you know, we're at one point, if you remember, Mayor, in 2019 or 20, we looked at Pettibone. We said, well, but, you know, it's a nice location, but now it's really your center. I mean, we're looking at pickleball courts and all that. You don't want to put it there. That's too valuable piece of property.
Yeah, they're really, I don't know of any other real.
Excuse me.
Tom?
Tom, hold on. I can't hear you.
Probably can't.
Mary Jane, stop. Okay, do you have something to say, Tom? Because you haven't been heard from.
Well, I'm not
I didn't
done.
mean to cut
Oh,
you
you're
off.
still talking? I'm sorry, Mary Jane.
You-
Just a second, Tom.
I have a lot of respect for you and your opinions, absolutely, and your education. I think we are very lucky to have you here, and I do believe that with the technology that we have now, we can, you know, contain any real issues. That I worry about all these other places along here that have been approved, and who's monitoring them? Are they still being monitored by DEEP or?
DEEP would only look at things that are certain levels of activity. You know, one of the things is because it was a quote-unquote hazardous waste site, and that's sort of because of what their operations were. And it's a Part B because it's got PCBs. It gets much more attention. we're able to right now, every time we get an approval to, I don't want to say de-escalate, but they see that we're moving forward and they're saying, okay, that box is checked, that box is checked. And that helps us a lot. And the other thing I'd like to say is, you know, I know we're talking like, I guess this is part of where I come out of. I come out of plating facilities, manufacturing, 500,000 square feet of just, you know, schmutz everywhere. That's a technical term, schmutz. And you work on it, and so we made those processes. We closed loop plating systems. We took acid treatment systems and we made them so they're closed loop. We made them so they were safe and they weren't entering the environment. To me, when I look at this is not that difficult. You know, we have the salt, but the salt's going to be in a shed. It's going to be undercover, and your exposure to salt's more because what we put on the road than what you got there. There's minuscule amounts of oil. I mean, you're talking just what we put in trucks. It's not like we have a large tank. The fuel is going to be either electricity off of the solar panels, or we're going to use natural gas. So we're not going to have a large amount of tanks. You already have diesel tanks. In fact, these will be bolted down. There's a standard that DEP is going to expect us to do. There's a collection system to make sure that we don't spill it. This is something we do. I've put in over 220 tank systems over my career. We can make this so it's not going. Or you could. The flood of '55 could come again too, and I'm a student of the flood of '55. So, if that happens, all bets are off. And I talked to the mayor about what happened 2 years in Oxford. There's nothing. Your problem that's not going to be the public works facility. It's going to be that you've got 69 bridges that we've got to figure out how to rebuild and how do we get people here to do. So I'm more concerned about things like that. I think the public works facility, when we're done, you could come down and you're going to say, this is really how something should go. You take a look sometime at like go on and watch the History Channel. And they talk about manufacturing. Of course, I'm all excited. I went to Bethlehem Steel a couple weeks ago. That's what you do for your birthday. But you watch this stuff, and you go and you look at what Ford was 20 years ago, and you watch the automation now, and you can go into their factories and you just about eat out the floor. That's how far we've progressed.
Thank you, Jack. We want to give Tom a chance.
Yep. Tom?
Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I appreciate Ari's concern and everybody's concern about, obviously clean water and the aquifers. But for many of us who have been doing this for a long time, we had asked those same questions many years ago. We had engineering teams. We had all sorts of folks guiding us through both planet conservation and development. We had both sides of the aisle. These were not political meetings. This was what were we looking for the future of the town. And across the board, everybody felt that this location to move DPW, number one, was essential to move it out of downtown and redevelop that area. And second, the better spot for it was Century Brass because we were reusing what was a Brownsfield cleanup site, which was recommended and was looked positively upon by the people who were giving us the grant money to clean it up. So I appreciate the concern, but these are the same questions that we were answering and posing to folks 15 and 20 years ago. If you go back and look at the history of this thing, this has been going on a long time, and I'm glad to see that people that just get on the council are asking the same type of aggressive questions that we did years ago.
Thank you, Tom.
People spoke about this multiple times. We went over this ad nauseum to make sure that this was going to be whatever we were going to do was going to be environmentally friendly.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Ari, short, please, because we have a motion, and you go ahead and say what you want, and then I'm going to call the vote.
I just want to say a lot has changed in 15 years, and we're not bound to the aspirations of people 15 years ago. There are a lot more concerns now about climate disasters and the effect that this would have on the drinking water of New Milford and Brookfield and part of Newtown. And science makes mistakes, that's happens all the time. And I think a lot of people are not concerned out of political reasons. It's not political for me. It's out of concern for the drinking water and the environment. We all shared concerns about Flatiron, and a lot of those concerns are very similar about this site. And, you know, I know some prominent Republicans that are also concerned about this.
Okay.
So I don't think
Harry,
it's...
I'm sorry, but you've continued this, and so we have enough people here, I'm going to say it. I would like to call the vote. We have a motion, we had a second. So,
Okay, so the motion is what, Stephanie?
To hire a third party
To hire a third
investigate
party.
alternative locations for the Department of Public Works, which includes analysis, space programming, concept design with an amount not to exceed $200,000.
right.
All
Ari,
the-
you seconded
all-
it?
Yep, all those in favor of the, oh, Mary Jane?
So if, instead of having the $200,000, wouldn't we be looking for an RFP from somebody versus allocating $200,000?
Something of this nature, when you look at other towns that have done this, it runs about this price. So I think the public, if we're gonna be transparent, it would be up to. So
Yeah, not
if
to
we were to
exceed.
do that, not to exceed that, fully well letting everyone know that this would be what a price would be.
Your Honor, if you're gonna do that motion, there's gonna have to be a motion that includes an appropriation and a recommendation, a request to the Board of Finance for $200,000. Because that's not,
Before we do that, Randy, just to get a flavor, if this is something that the
Right.
town council even wants to do.
oh, okay.
See if it
We can
passes.
make another motion to
Yes.
amend the council and then add that on.
Okay.
I just have one more question. Like,
Sure.
and what, if we had to buy this property somewhere in town with this acreage that they would need for their facility, what do we think that would cost?
If there was such an area?
Yeah, there was such an area.
Millions.
Millions.
I know it's
Millions.
kind of ambiguous
Yeah,
question,
I
but.
would, I.
250,000 an acre?
Those are millions.
Yeah, millions.
You'd probably be looking at, and don't hold me to it, Mary Jane, please, but it would be many millions of dollars.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, about 250,000 an acre for that type of property.
And meanwhile, the brownfield.
And there could be a cost
would-
savings also.
Meanwhile, the brownfield would just still sit there.
Or we can make that pickleball courts.
Okay. So, we've heard the motion
Yep.
read to us. I would
So-
like to call the vote.
Yep. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
did you get that, Stephanie? Okay, thank you.
All right. Next
On
is.
to item 10B. I'd like to make a move that, I'd like to make a motion to recommend to the Board of Finance that they set the mill rate after the budget approval, including the unanticipated tax relief revenue from the state, which will be $654,804. This action is to reduce the proposed mill rate. Do I have a second? Thank you, Paul.
And we have a motion and a second. The town received an additional $654,000, thank you, $804. And this was done in several iterations, let's just say.
Yes.
The very last one done, the very last moment of the very last day. This was always intended for this to be something to stabilize or lower the mill rate for this year, as the legislation had felt that there needed to be some relief from our taxpayers. This came in two tranches. $188,992 and $465,812. One was for helping with the educational costs that are borne by the municipality, and the other is the $188,000, which is the Pequot Mohican Sun fund that has been dormant at all. So what would this do if approved? This recommendation sent to the Board of Finance. If the town approves our budgets, the Board of Finance sets the mill rate. So currently, if the budget was to be passed, we would be going down from our current 30.96% mill rate, or 30.96 mill rate, to 23.60 mills, which is a 23.76% decrease in our mill rate. By adding this additional funding, we would then go down from 23.60 to 23.50, which would then be a 24.11% decrease in our mill rate.
Excellent. Very good, yeah.
Thank you.
It's already been
We have a
moved.
motion and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, everyone.
We don't have anybody here, just I want to remind everybody when you're watching this, and those of you sitting here, that because of the holiday, that our scheduled next meeting will be a Tuesday, May the 25th is a holiday, so Tuesday the 26th. Everybody got that?
We have a motion to adjourn. Thank you.
Sure.
And a second.
Get it.
All those in favor?
Aye, aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
Good.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.